everybody. Welcome. It's Sunday. I just wanted to say thank you for joining me on my live. And if you're watching this replay, thank you so much for watching. And don't forget to comment below if you have any questions during the live. I'll be glad to answer them. And I also have my moderator who will assist as well. And today we are going to print with our jelly plates onto fabric. So there's a lot of things I can't wait to share. So also I am one person away of getting 100 subscribers. So thank you so much for subscribing to my channel. And if you're that 100, please click that subscribe button. Give me a like. It has really been a roller coaster ride. So thank you so much. I'm excited to be here and excited to provide what I have learned through this journey with you on jelly printing. And I have some exciting videos to come that are coming up. So anyway, let's go ahead and get started. So let's grab our jelly plates, our paints, and I'll walk with you through, if you're not doing fabric jelly printing, that's okay. I would be glad to answer any questions you have, whether it's paper, fabric, brayers, paints, you name it. I'm going to try the impressibles. And so let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so I have to tell you, I found a new paint that I am in love with. I am in love with Winsor Newton gallery paints. These aren't even their top of the line paints. And I'll go through why I really like these paints. First of all, golden acrylics are one of my favorites. However, Winsor Newton is half the price. I really like the opaqueness and the richness of the colors that you get from Winsor Newton. And not only that, but it cleans off my plate. So all those junkety bits that I leave on my plate, oh my gosh, I can pull them up successfully with Winsor Newton. And also the texture of the paint is very creamy. It's almost like a butter. Anyway, I'm going to have a video on all about Winsor Newton paints. So make sure you subscribe to my channel so that you'll be notified when I have that. But I just wanted to go through here and just show you the richness of these colors. And look at this brown orange. It's like a burnt sienna. Really like that color. And this blue is like a blue. And then here's a combination of some pinks and reds and blues onto this one with a stencil that I used. I am just loving these prints. So, wanted to share that with you. Here's some more junkety bits that I was able to pull off from my plate. And then I wanted to show a couple things. I've learned a lot about printing on fabrics. So here's an example of one. This is muslin and it's unbleached. It has a tighter weave in the threads, and that is important. And so that's one of the things that I learned about gel printing. The other thing that I learned about gel printing on fabric is that more than 2 layers, the fabric can get a little stiff. And so I'm going to show a little bit about that in the video as well today. And then I also tried a broadcloth. This is a cloth that you can almost see through. And it was really difficult for me to sew with. So I do like the tighter weaves in my muslin. And this is just a regular blue, but you can still print on it. When you're printing with a broadcloth, it's okay to have more than 1 layer because it's very thinly woven anyway. If you can see through a blue like this, then you know your thread count is not that tight. So more to come on those things, but I just wanted to share some of my Gelli Printing experiments that I did with muslin. And so you got some oranges and some reds here and some yellows. And then we got some other colors here. So these are the kinds of things that we're going to do today. I used an impressible on this one with a lighter background. And then on this one here, you can't really see the numbers too well, but there's some numbers, hidden numbers. It's like tone on tone here with some purples. And so these are the experiments. This is another impressible that we'll play with today as well. Okay, so it's okay if you don't have fabric. I didn't advertise that we were going to do fabric today. That's okay, because the same techniques that I apply with the fabric, except for one, will apply to your paper as well. So when you're doing gel printing on fabric, you really want to get the GAC, which is golden acrylic colors, I think is what the C stands for. The GAC 900. This will allow the paint to be heat set. And the way I do that is I just throw it in the dryer for 45 minutes or so. And it heat sets it. So it makes the paint not so stiff onto the fabric. So let's just go ahead and I'll probably be focusing on dark greens today. So I'll just pull up all my greens. Just one second, I'm still pulling these guys out. And I was hoping for a white. So when I apply paint, in my other videos, you see that I use 2 palettes. Okay, and today I'll use 2 palettes as well. But typically when I do Gelli printing on fabric, I apply the paint directly to the plate, which is different than when I work with paper. So let's go ahead and get us and I mix the paint onto the plate, which is a little different than what I normally do when I paint or Gelli print on paper. I'm going to add just a couple drops of the GAC 9000. And then all I'm going to do here is I am just going to swirl this and mix this up onto the plate directly. And I use more paint than I normally would if I were doing printing on paper. So once I have mixed all this, and sometimes I will roll my brayer off onto this other one because that's like a bonus print. So I'll put that there. Now all I'm doing is just laying down color, and I tend to cut my fabric smaller than my gel plate because I want it to cover edge to edge. And I'm just going to mop up any excess with paper. I call it mopping. It's just so I can rub the fabric. Okay, now let's see what this looks like. And these dry pretty quickly. So this is what this one looks like. So I got a green piece of fabric here, but we'll go back and we're going to add some texture to this. So we're just going to put it to the side and let it dry. Let's see, let's go for another color. We're just laying some foundation here. A little bit more paint there. And again, these Winsor Newton paints, they're my new fave. Really like them. Now, another thing, when you are Gelli printing with fabrics and that GAC 900, I think I keep saying it 9,000, but it's 900. Sorry about that. You will see that the paint builds up right here on the edge. What I do is I am going to take a paintbrush, because that is all the leftover paint that gets trapped right there, and I'll just put it to the side, and as we go through here, it'll start building up, like it really builds up on this side. So I just see it as texture. All right. Now, another thing that you can do is if you have little strips of paper or fabric, you can put it right next to the other leftover to try to pull a print from there as well. So again, we're just laying down the foundation. So we got that one. That one will be used a lot for mop up. And then we have this one as well. Now I'm going to use a green gold and add some more GAC 900. Again, that helps with heat setting the fabric, and also it's not so stiff on your fabrics. Add a little bit more green gold there. Now, as you can see, we've been doing different types of layers of paint onto the Gelli plates. And so what's going to happen is eventually when we pull one of these prints, we're going to pull up the leftover. So I'm going to try to get to the edge as much as possible. Grab my mop up. Lay that in there. Try to get the edges really good because I like edge to edge fabric. And then I'm going to grab any excess paint off my brayer here. Got some pulls there. We picked up some of the blue from the last print. I didn't rub that edge very well, but we'll get it next time. And let's see here, what else do we have? Let's go with a yellow. And let me see if I can find. there's the color I'm looking for. Okay. Now, this here is just a basic Artist Loft acrylic paint. So any paints will work. I just happen to like Winsor Newton. But I'm going to mix this blue cobalt metallic with this Winsor Newton yellow to get like a green that will have like a shiny effect to it. Does anybody have any questions regarding brayers, what we're doing here? I'll be glad to answer them. That sit for a minute. This is going to be an interesting pull on this plate once we finish building up the layers. Okay, so the paint's a little lighter than I expected, but we'll put another layer on here with another print. But I really like a darker richness of color. So that's a little bit see-through-ish, the paint is on this one, but that's okay. And then one more, and then we're going to start adding some texture to these. So this is a darker green. Maybe put a little bit of, okay, maybe there's going to be two more. When you're jelly printing, it's so easy to keep going. So I just realized I wanted another color for my fabrics. So I'm going to mix this up. Oh, this one's a big sheet. Okay, so I'm out of the little sheet, so let's really try to get this rolled out. Let's see what happens here. The paint will come through the fabric, and if you don't like that paint all over your hands like me, then you just get another piece of paper and it will protect your hands. But I'm fine with this. And then I'm going to add that little bit of mop-up layer here. Also, having an extra sheet of paper will help you get those edges a little bit better, or an extra piece of fabric to the edges. So I have space right here, so let's add some more color. We're about ready to pull this one here. Probably the next print. I think we'll be good to go. I'd like to see what that looks like. So we did get that spot covered, and we have a little darkness there, which is great. I really like the opaqueness of this versus the lighter color, but that's okay. That just tells me I need to add more paint to my plate. And on this one, this green, let's make it a little darker green. I'm going to add a little bit of black to it. Where is that black? Well, thought I had the black. Oh, it was hidden. Okay, so we're gonna add a little black to make the green tone darker, but you only need a little bit. And I probably just did too much, but that's okay. It is what it is. When it comes to jelly printing, it's like a box of chocolates. You just never know what you're going to get. And if I don't really like the green, like if I feel like it's too dark, I can go in and I can add a little bit of, yeah, we're going to add just a little bit of more green here. So I'm going to add probably a green gold. Now we're really going to get a box of chocolates here. Okay, just what I wanted, a darker green. Now I have, and as you roll the Winsor Newton, man, it's like butter. It really is. It's just so creamy and rich, and I just really like it. I got some, oh, I put that on wrong. Oh well, we'll go back. More time to play. Now, the reason why I started these lives was because I wanted dedicated time to play with my gel plate. And I thought it would be fun if people played along with me. And maybe they needed time to play with their gel plates as well. So if there's a better time for everyone than 10 a.m.s on Sunday, please drop a comment below and we'll see if we can't make that work. During the week is not feasible for me unless it's in the evenings, in which case it'd be like kind of late. But weekends are usually a better time. So whatever works for you, just let me know. I'd like to see what different times there are for people. All right, let's see how this turned out, and then we'll have to add a little bit more because I missed a spot. Ooh, I like that dark green. That's going to be fun when I put textures on top of that. So I'm going to add some more dark green and then we'll be ready to move on. Might not be the same dark green because I didn't mix up enough, but it will be enough. Now, the reason why I started jelly printing on fabrics is because I really wanted to see what I could make with my fabric jelly prints. I thought that would be a lot of fun to create those items with printed fabrics instead of fabrics that you buy. this is going to be a little darker, but that's all right. Looks like we're going to... All right. So we got definitely some variations there. That's pretty cool. I knew this was a little darker because I put too much black on the plate, but that was okay. Now, let's see what we get over here, because you've been watching me use this as a roll-off sheet. So let me put some more paint on here, and then let's just roll that off. Let's just pick a color. I'm just getting extra paint off my brayer here. It likes to gunk up on that side. And let's go for a basic white. Now, the reason why you put white over this is because it's going to act as the agent to pull all the other colors up. So I'm hoping to get enough white on here. See what kind of layers we got. We're going to let that sit for a minute and see if we can pull this whole thing up. I might have to get paper out for this one. We'll see though. While we're doing that, let's just roll this out. And see what we can pull. I don't know if we can pull anything with this or not, but let's find out. And then I want to get some of this blue. See if we can pull anything with that blue as well. Paint may have been a little bit too dry, but we'll find out. This one feels still cool to the touch, so I think we'll be okay on that one. Now this gave me a good foundation with the blue to put other colors on top that will bring it a little brighter. It didn't pull all the paint up from the plate, which is okay, because that'll just be another layer. And then this one here, as you can see, it's just a little green on this Mop Up page. All right, are we ready to see what this one looks like? Oh, I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised. Well, look at that. That really gave us some extra interesting textures. And you see that right there? That's punchinella that I used from another print that pulled up off the plate. And so I'm going to show you, and here's some more punchinella right here, some dots. And then these are my brush strokes that you saw me wiping my brush off. So you can definitely use your gel plate here as like a piece of paper and just roll off your brayer and keep building layers. But I really like this. This is really cool. I really liked how that turned out. Okay, so let's real quickly. I just want to show you all the basic layers that we did. Now we're going to put textures on top of these. And these are pretty dry. We're ready to print another layer. So it's not sopping wet. You do not have to wait till these dry overnight. So these are the layers that we got. Now we're just going to add stuff on top of them. Oh, and here's this one. This is the dark one. Here. Okay. So I thought it would be fun for this green one, this light green one, to have like a different color green on top, and we'll use the impressible for it. So I thought I would use this 7x7 circle impressible, and I'm just laying it on top of my other gel plate. That is perfectly okay. They come apart. It just holds it in place. And I'm going to use this palette over here as my paint palette. So when you're using impressibles, I don't know if you're familiar with them, and I am planning to have a video on them, but they're raised surfaces. So the gel plate has been what I call embossed and debossed, meaning it goes in and it raises up. And so it creates different textures here. So I will show you what that looks like when we apply the paint onto the gel plate. Hey, Jessica. That's okay. I'm glad you joined us. Thank you so much for joining. And when you watch this on replay, you'll hear that I gave you a shout out. But I hope you really enjoy it. Thanks, Jessica, for joining me. If you have any questions later, drop them in the chat, and I'll be glad to answer them for you. Okay. So now when you roll this, you don't want to roll too hard. You just want to get the top of the surface. See how the surface reveals itself? There, I rolled a little bit too hard. That's fine. You just want to be light-handed, and as you can see, I'm not that light-handed because I hit a lot of spaces, but it's okay. And then I'm going to lay this on top. And what I like to do is I like to be able to make sure I have enough paint on the back that it's coming through. It's kind of like a reverse stamp if you think about it. Meaning that you put your stamp down and you put your paper on top. So now let's pull this one up. And we applied that design to it. And again, I got the areas too much. So let's get the other side of this. And I'm just going to rub in the area, even though I have paint over here. I'm just going to rub in the area where I needed it. It's okay if they overlap. It's because when I cut these up, nobody's going to know, oh, that piece of fabric had overlapping circles. Okay. right. Let's go ahead and mop up the rest of this with this piece of fabric. Yes, Jessica is like 60 mosh. That's pretty cool. I never thought of it like 60s. Okay, so we have this plain piece of blue and I really like it. So I'm just going to pull this print. Kind of clean off my plate. I use the muslin kind of like paper. So I get about 6 yards and I can get about 70 pieces of muslin. Sorry, didn't mean to offend anybody. But 70 pieces of muslin, and I cut them from 11 by 13. So that's about how many pieces I can get, and then I'll have a few mop-up pieces. And you can always use this as a mop-up page. I have another one like this. And so I'll just keep printing around it, or you can cut it, use this piece of muslin, and then use this as additional mop-ups. Okay, the next thing I wanted to show was stencils. Now, if you've been watching my videos, this is one of my favorite stencils. This is I believe, the Circles and Circles, and my moderator will drop a link in the chat window on this. But what this will do is trap paint underneath here after I apply it, and then we will pull this up with one piece of fabric, add another layer of paint, and then take the whole print. So that's what we're planning to do. And since we are going to use this guy, and I'm looking for some greens, maybe some blues, I think what I'll do, that's going to be a little dark. I think I will go with a lighter green on this. So maybe it's going to be more of a tone on tone. We'll see. Never know. Understanding your colors and the color palette is really helpful. But sometimes you get one of those oddball things that happen. All right, so we got a little blue in here, so it's going to be a little of a darker color. Than what we have on that paper, but that's okay. We'll see what happens. Tone on tone can be very pretty, so it'll be interesting to see what we get. Put this circle down, and then we're gonna mop up the negative space onto here. So I'm getting those inner circles. Okay, we're going to let that sit for a minute. I'm going to mop up some of this other inner circles here. Okay. Where we're at it. Clean off my brayer so that it rolls. If paint gets on your brayer and you don't wipe it off like this, you're going to end up having to clean your brayer. And I have to tell you, I'm not one of those people that really do that. But if it doesn't roll, it's time to clean it. All right, let's pull this guy and see what happens here. So here we have a little bit of a tone-on-tone color. And then we're going to pull this one up. Now, all this leftover is going to dry a little bit. I know it doesn't look like much, but it'll be interesting. And I'll probably go with a darker green. We kind of want that to dry just a little bit. So we'll see what happens there. I'm going to roll this out a little bit. Let's see. We'll play over here for a minute. While we're playing over here, let's use some bubble wrap. Everybody's got bubble wrap, right? Let's use some bubble wrap. And now, Jessica, just when you watch this on replay, this is great to do with kids. Your kids would love this. This is how I got my son into gelli printing with me. And he doesn't really like art. And he liked doing gelli printing. So if your kids would be interested in doing art, then grab a gel plate and go to town with them. They would love this. And you don't need expensive paint. Just the cheap craft paint would work too. So just something for you to think about. Hi, Sandra. Yep, we're waiting for this to dry, and then I'm going to show you what we're going to do with that. But thank you for joining. I appreciate that. So this is the print that we got with the bubble wrap, and I did like a tone on tone, so you could see that. Now this is not totally dry, but let's go ahead and see what we get. And okay, I am going to go with a, you know what, let's go with blue. Maybe that'll work. Maybe it won't. I can already tell you I'm going to need more blue. This will be too light. Again, printing on fabrics, I like to use a lot more paint than when I print with papers. And it's really hard to remember that when you get your mojo down when you're printing on paper. So sometimes you just have to go back into it. Now, I'm getting paint that's pulling up through the muslin, and so I think I have enough paint on here, but we'll see when we make this pull. And while we're at it, I'm just going to roll this one out. I'm going to lay this stencil on top of it. And I'm going to pull a print through here. Let's see what we get. Well, it's not wet enough, so it's just probably going to be a very light pull. When you're working with these stencils with these little holes, try to really get your fingers in there. It will get the print for you. So this one will take a minute. I really want to feel the gel plate through the stencil in order to get a good print. Now, with paper, it's a little hard sometimes to do that. So, we'll see what we get. I might not get all the spots, but at least we'll get a little bit of spots. I could have gotten a bigger, it would have probably been better if I would have taken a bigger stencil instead of this little bitty rock one. I don't know what stencil this is. Sandra, I'd have to look this up on this one. I know I probably got it from Stencil Girl. I'll look it up and I'll put it in the link to the live for you. Okay, let's see what we get on here. I know I've got some spots missing, but that's okay. Oh, look how that turned out. If I didn't put my fingers through there and really push on these little pebbles, I'm calling them pebbles, I don't know what it's called, but these little holes, then I wouldn't have gotten this little print that would come up. Now, that right there on the gel plate is going to be a cool pull. I can't wait to pull that. That's going to be awesome. All right, let's see what this one did. This is the big circles and circles. Because the green was really mixed with that blue, it became darker, so it's like a tone on tone print almost. Now, I'm not going to waste any of this space. We'll go back and we'll fill that in. This stencil here will be the next one that I use. So I'll put that to the side and we're going to use it on this. And since this is a darker color, we're either going to want to go really light or really, really dark, like almost a blue black in order for it to pop. Or we could go light green. So a little concerned about the light green, but we can add some white to it and really make it pop. So we'll see what happens. Just thinking. And this is one of my favorite colors in Winsor Newton, is this deep turquoise. It is just one of my favorite colors. You just gotta walk away from that because I keep wanting to use it. Let's go with this yellow ochre. And we'll add a little bit of turquoise in there, because I just can't help myself. See what we get. Might get mud, who knows? Because the reason why I say that is because it's a little brown in the yellow ochre. Got a lot of paint on this plate. Well, let's turn it out like a little bit of a lime green, blue lime green color. Not lime, sorry, mint. Let's get some of that in there. All right. A lot of paint. Every time you roll over your paint, you're taking paint off of your mat and you're putting it on a different color there, on a different paint mat thing. I want to get this going on there. Lay this guy down there. Lay this down. All right. We're double timing it now, people. Get my little extra piece, lay that down. Thanks, Sandra. I appreciate that. Okay. Let's pull this guy up. Okay. We left some paint on here. That's going to be a great pull when I put some more paint down. You ready to see this one? This will be interesting. That up for you. I really like, now let's just talk about this one for a minute. You see this area, it had a darker green and it really pops out these I don't know, arrows, for lack of a better word. Whereas over here the paint is almost the same tone, and so it's a little lighter. The background was a little lighter, and so the paint is almost the same tone. You can still see it. So, and then this one here is more of a blue green, and while we had more of a mint color on top. So that's a little bit of the difference between this going across. But I will probably cut the fabric here, so this in one area, use this as a different area, and then this is a different, so almost like 3 pieces of fabric, if you will. Now, let's see what this one did. This one turned out really cool. So this is how this one turned out with the mint green and the blue. Okay. So we're going to take an example from that. I'm going to pull the blue off of here. I'm going to use blue to pull this print off. let's see here. Looking for my, oh, here it is. Thanks, Sandra. I'm going to plan to go through all these fabrics here in a few minutes once we get done with our pulls. I wanted to show one other thing. I have one more fabric that we have a background on, and I'm going to show that. And then I'll go through all the prints. So a couple of these I'm just using as a mop up and to add texture to them. So, like, for example, we add some blue there to this one. And then this was a broadcloth that I'm using as a mop up, and I was just pulling some blue off of there. And then this is another print here that I'm using as a mop up because I don't like wasting my fabrics. So, pulled some blue there. And then I was adding some blue to this one as well. Now, for what we were really waiting on was this guy here. So let's see what we got. This one turned out interesting because of all this green that got pulled up from it. This is leftover paint right here, these little bits. We didn't get so much here, but it's almost like a tone on tone. Even though this was like a mint green like color, this was like a tone on tone. So that turned out really cool. Now, let's see what we have. Oh, we got one more. Okay. Oh no, I'm sorry. I thought we had one more, but we still got this area to do. So let's do some printing here. And what I'm going to use is what I call a mop up print. I'm sorry, a mop up print. Let's just add this color to the whole thing. See all that paint that's on my brayer? If I don't get that off, it's going to dry like that. We don't want that to dry. So we're going to mix that into our blues and greens that we have sitting here. Now, I'm going to use Punchinella. Don't know if y'all have ever seen Punchinella, but whenever sequins are punched out of whatever sequins are made out of, then you end up with these little circles, and they end up being a great resource for texture. Now, the way I will do this is I will cut my fabric here, and I will cut my fabric here. So this will not be disturbed, and then this will be its own separate thing, and that will be a separate thing. And then I could put a lighter color after this dries a little bit. I could do a lighter color, a light transparent color on top of here, and the blue will pop up. Remember that blue Mop Up print that we did? I just did Punchinella on top of it. And so now you have these circles. Okay. I'm going to add some green to here to finish that print. Actually, I'm going to do my favorite color. So now I have a tone on tone. And for this one, now, another thing you could do, and I'm still making pop, I got a bunch of white space I am trying to cover up here, some right here. So what I thought I would do, let's get all the junk off of here. The reason why this gunks up is because of the amount of paint you're putting on your brayer and the combination of the GAC 9000. So that's why you're getting a lot of this on your brayer. Now, if you get interesting pieces of cardboard from packaging material, you can use this as a way to create texture onto your gel plate. So I do create a lot of, I do get a lot of trash that I keep. So these are just different ways that you can make texture onto your plate. Okay. So I'm just making some random cardboard textures. You will look at trash in a whole different way. So be selective on what you keep for trash, or what you keep out of your trash. Okay, everybody's covered again. So, cardboard cutout. Made these textures here. I was just trying to cover up a piece of fabric. So we got some more here. Okay. And then this one here had the punchinella on it. Oh, this one turned out really cool. Sandra, if you're still with us, you might like this one too. Look at that one. And then we have this one. So I still got some work to do here, but I'll do that at another time. We have this one here. I still got some work to do here and here. And create this one as well. And this one. Got some work to do on this as well. I want to get a different color in the background, so I'll probably cut this piece out because I really like this by itself. And then whatever's left over will be jelly printed. This is a reverse of the other one. This one turned out really cool. There. And then the bubble wrap. Really liked the bubble wrap. That was really fun. And then Jessica's favorite, the 60s. So I really hope that you enjoyed watching me jelly print on fabrics. And again, please leave a comment below on when the best time. I'm trying to gauge and do a survey on the best time when everybody can join me and play with their gel plates. I'll be doing something different each time I do a live. So please continue to join me. And thank you again for watching this live. And for those of you on the replay, thank you so much. And if I got 100 subscribers, I don't know, because at the beginning of this video or this live, I had 99. So, but if you're catching this on replay or if you subscribe to my channel, you don't know how much I really appreciate you joining me in my jelly printing journey. And keep watching Ratchet Up Your Art, because you never know what we're going to do next. And thank you again for joining me on the lives. Bye, everybody.